Welcome back. I'm just moving right along here onto my Minor Threat 12-inch, and this is the yellow cover and back cover. It's the vinyl reissue of the two 7-inches that were just the Minor Threat 7-inch, which is super rare if you have it or if you can find it. I think it's the blue cover, little 7-inch, and it's super rare. And the Out of Step 7-inch, which is the second half of this album, which is the one that's black and white with the sheep jumping. But yeah, I love Minor Threat. I love Ian right there. He's the founder of Dischord Records. Really, really awesome label if you've never really listened to any of their stuff. I'm a huge fan of Minor Threat. I'm a huge fan of Fugazi. I like the Teen Idols. I like Ian's newer band with his wife, the Evens. If you haven't heard them, they're really cool, and they play really cool shows. They're more mellow, more of an acoustic band, but nonetheless, really great stuff. And speaking of Fugazi, here's Steady Diet of Nothing, their second full-length album. Their first being Repeater, which I have. I just don't have it with me. But this album's great. It's super noisy and awesome, and just another classic Fugazi album. If you've never heard it, you have to. It's great. I'm a huge fan of Fugazi. I think everything they've done is great. Repeater, especially The Argument, Red Medicine, and on The Kill Taker, one of my favorites. End Hits. Too many classic songs to name. I mean, they're all great. I wish that they would get back together. That'd be so cool. Because I never got a chance to see them, and I would love that so much. All right, moving on here. Oh, well, to talk about Dischord Records a little bit, I found this compilation of hand-picked best of Dischord box set that I found at Ralph's Records in Lubbock. Shout out to Ralph's Records. They have a lot of cool shit there. If you're ever in Lubbock, go there, check them out. But I found this box set, and I've never been able to find it since, and I lost it when I moved like a couple years ago. I haven't been able to find it anywhere, and it sucks because, like I said, it was hand-picked favorites from Ian and some of the other people that worked at Dischord, and it was the coolest compilation. All these random bands I'd never heard of that were on Dischord, and of course like the Evens and Fugazi and all of Ian's bands, Teen Idols, and some of Guy's bands, Rites of Spring, which I don't even know if they were ever on Dischord, but they had a couple songs on there, and I think they had some live cuts from some bands, and it was kind of chronological, so it started out like early stuff, which was more, punk rock stuff, then more like emo stuff in the 80s and stuff, and then some weird experimental noise rock stuff in the 90s. So just a really killer compilation altogether, and I miss it so much, and I haven't been able to find it. So if anyone could tell me where I could find that, I'll be all over that, because I've had a hard time trying to find it. All right, up next, Pixies, Surfer Rosa, of course, a classic album. One of the most beautifully packaged albums I own. It's so awesome. Of course, the naked dancer chick there on top, and song list and lyrics and things like that. And of course, it's Spanish down at the bottom, and oh my golly and all that stuff. But really beautiful packaged record. It's gold sleeve in there, and 180 gram vinyl. Actually, I think this might be 200 gram vinyl. Yeah, 200 gram vinyl. And this album sounds so good and beautifully packaged, which is what this album deserves. I have Doolittle. I don't have it with me, so I'll stop dwelling on that. All right, up next, the only Black Keys LP that I own is Thick Freakness, and probably their best. Well, I don't know, actually. Rubber Factory might be my favorite. And Brothers, actually, too, I think is great. It's incredible. But this is a good one, too. This is more their straight-ahead blues, rock, garage rock type stuff. Real dirty and grimy and just heavy reverb-soaked guitars and heavy John Bonham-sounding drums, really big drums and, dirty vocals. And this was actually produced by Patrick, the drummer. And their self-produced stuff I always thought was better. I mean, I like the the Danger Mouse stuff that they were doing, and like Attack and Release. And Brothers is good too. Like I said, they have a new album, El Camino, that just came out, which I haven't actually listened to yet, and it's been a while, so I need to try to get on that, I guess. But I like these guys. Their albums like Magic Potion and stuff like that I didn't get much into. They weren't as good to me, but their older stuff like this and then their newer stuff is great. So everyone has a down period, but I think these guys have released a lot of good music, so I'll stay into them as long as they do. Alright, up next, my only Nirvana album I own, which is Bleach. Really, really good album. Super dirty, and before they got into... This was before they really gained many popularity, you know, especially in the mainstream. This was reissued just because, you know, albums like Nevermind and In Utero did so well, so they went back and reissued all their old stuff. But Bleach, their first album, 12-inch release, I believe. This was before Dave Grohl was ever in the group. Chad Channing, I think, was the drummer's name. And of course, Chris and Kurt were already in the band at this point. And I think I remember reading that, like, Kurt Cobain hated the way that Chad drummed, and so that's why they recruited Dave Grohl for their albums after this. But anyway, great album. School, one of my favorite Nirvana songs ever. A lot of good tunes on there. About a Girl, which I think is a Meat Puppets cover, I believe. Alright, moving on here. Same vein here. Mudhoney. I can't talk, I'm getting tired. Mudhoney, their second album, their self-titled album. This is actually an original copy, which was cool to find. And it was on Sub Pop. And really cool pink vinyl, which I like colored vinyl. It's, you know, it doesn't sound quite as good as high quality black vinyl. I mean, you can't beat like a 200 gram pressing on black vinyl. It sounds so good. But, you know, they released these colored vinyls sometimes back in the day. They didn't really care to think about if it was sounding as good as black vinyl or whatever. It just was more of a packaging thing. This actually has the original poster in it of the guys covered in mud, which I always thought was funny. And I never hang that up. I never try to hang up or take out any of the posters that ever come with my albums, because I like to keep them in there just in case something ever happens to the album. I know that the poster's in there and intact and not by itself somewhere. But yeah, really cool album. I love these guys, and along the same lines as Nirvana and some of those other bands that are coming out of Seattle and the West Coast at the same time. Sonic Youth, of course, they were a New York band, but along the similar lines. And speaking of Sonic Youth, and this is actually funny because I own quite a few Sonic Youth albums. I own Washing Machine, Dirty, Daydream Nation, Evil, Goo, Sister. So I have a lot of their stuff, Rather Ripped. But Murray Street's the only one I have with me. I can't explain why. Like I said, I'll show my other ones when I get back to my collection. Because I'm in the process of moving, like I said. So I just have the stuff that I wanted to listen to at the time. But I usually regret not bringing everything with me everywhere I go. But this is a great album, a 7-track LP. Really, really good stuff. It's a little more kind of pop-oriented and not as noisy, but I love it nonetheless. It's great. Really great songwriting. Kim Gordon, I think, wrote most of this album. And she's awesome. Great bass player, great vocalist. And Thurston Moore, great experimental guitar player and also great vocalist. And Lee Ronaldo. I mean, there's so many members of this band that were awesome. And so many memorable songs and memorable albums. They've come out with so much stuff, and they have a lot of material. And this would be a good place to start. It's pretty accessible, not as noisy and chaotic. So if you want to start with this and then get into more of their more noisy stuff afterwards, I'd recommend doing it that way. Alright, keeping up with the noisy rock. Husker Du was in Arcade. Probably their best album, if you ask me. Either this or New Day Rising, I think, is great also. Super awesome packaging. This is on SST Records. They did a really good job at reissuing super bulky. Like, you feel like you're holding something right here. I love it. It feels so awesome and bulky and thick spine. It's almost like a book. And it's a double LP. And of course, the opening track, something I learned today. The first time I heard that, I was hooked and really got into their stuff. And great album. Really, really good stuff. If you haven't heard them, they're incredible. You got to listen to their stuff. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and end this video. And I probably only have to do one more after this. So, yay, I'm almost done. I can move on to the new stuff. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed. And one more coming up, and then we'll be done. Thanks, guys.